Welcome to Gotta Go. This is Will Sanchez. My honored guest today is Trishul Cherns. Wow. Too much of a good thing is wonderful, according to Mae West. This man has done that. He's a ultramarathoner extraordinaire. I am honored to have Trishul as a guest.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
You're also one of the co-director for the Greater New York 100-mile or 100K Exposition.
Yes, running expositions. Yes, I am.
I'm blown away already by your records. So let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us where you were born and something about your childhood.
Okay. I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I lived there for 20 years. I came to New York in 1977 to taste the Big Apple. And I was here to study meditation with my meditation teacher at the time, Trishul Cherns.
Whoa, that's already a mouthful. Now, back in Canada, did you have siblings? How did you get around those days?
Okay, well, basically in sports, I always played team sports, but Little League football, Little League ice hockey. Ice hockey's the national sport there. So I dreamed ice hockey, and like all little boys, wanted to be a professional sportsman. And so I eventually became, I guess, a professional runner because I have been paid and have been sponsored. So sports has been my passion, and always have been very, very interested in running because it just was something cool. It was neat.
I think we'll go into that because you're a unique individual in terms of the unique races you run, multi-day races. I think you're considered either the father of multi-day races or a specialist or a pioneer or maybe all three.
Well, I pioneered Canadian multi-day running, which is races that's beyond 24 hours, and I have 115 Canadian national records.
Wait, how many?
115.
I didn't even know there were 115 different kind of races, much less you got 115 records.
Right.
But these records are beyond the marathon?
Yes, they're beyond the marathon. Like, for example, I have a 48-hour Canadian national record, which is 221 miles or 300, and I think it's 55.8 kilometers. I've had the Canadian 6-day record, for example.
6 days?
6 days with 538 miles or 866K, and so on.
And so on. My gosh. Now, back in Canada, did you go to college?
No, I went from high school to a spiritual meditation center. I was very, very interested in not so much intellect as much more into wisdom. And I was very fascinated by the Shaolin priests who used Kung Fu as an expression of their spiritual practice.
Love that TV series, Kung Fu.
Yes, exactly.
With
David Carradine.
Yes, David Carradine. I loved it.
And I loved it too.
So that was the same principle?
Yes, it was the same principle.
Master, I am puzzled. That is the beginning of wisdom.
I went to a meditation center, the Trishul Cherns Center, and learned about spirituality.
Now, where is that center?
It's in Queens, and it's all over. He has different meditation. Trishul Cherns, who's passed on, had different centers all around the world. So when I lived in Canada, there was one in Toronto, and so I was very interested in meditation and spiritual practice. And I used, instead of Kung Fu, I used running as a manifestation of my spiritual practice.
Interesting. Now, I think you told me that your given name is different.
Yes, my given name is Lorne, like Lorne Green or Lorne Michaels. It's very Canadian, Lorne, just like them. But I got a spiritual name from Trishul Cherns called Trishul, and that means trident.
Trident, the spear?
Yes, like Poseidon's trident.
Okay. I guess you must love that name.
I love that name. It's who I am. What it means is ignorance-piercing weapon which conquers all the wrong forces of the world for the supreme, for God. So I liked it. It was a very powerful name.
This Queen Center, which is famous for this, I think it held the annual 3,000-mile course. I think it's 6 days. Yeah. Each day you got to run 2 marathons, 52 miles or something like that.
I participated and finished this race 3 times. It was 3,100 miles or 5,000 kilometers. Basically, you get up 6 in the morning and you finish 12 at midnight. You get about 4.5 hours of sleep. And what it taught me was really learning how to be in the moment. And it was just, I was always fascinated to just run, eat, sleep, and walk, so the art of motion. I was fascinated by the art of motion.
Oh my gosh. Very, very, very few people can fathom the crazy concept of running for 6 days from 6 o'clock in the morning to 12 midnight. You took a break for 4.5 hours, whatever sleep you can get, eat.
What I averaged was in this 3,100-mile race to cover it, it took me 50 days, 3 hours. So I averaged for the whole race 61.8 miles a day, 99K a day. And we had to not only deal with the mileage, which was not the problem. It was a concrete surface on a 1-kilometer loop in the heat of the summer. And that summer in 1999, it was the second hottest summer in New York City history.
Oh my gosh.
Started in the middle of June and ended in the first week of August.
Okay, so the next one's coming up.
The next one's coming up in 2 weeks, yes.
Are you doing that? No, you got something else going on.
Yeah. I'm trying some shorter ultras. I'm interested in the 100K, 100-mile distances.
Oh, okay.
Taking a shorter break.
I want to take that walk in the park. Okay, so that's 3,000 miles. And I guess the cutoff is 52 days?
Yeah, they have a 52-day cutoff. The year I did it was 51 days. So, they made it a little easier
52 days. Now, I can't imagine this. How many shoes did you go through in those times?
About 10 to 15 pairs.
So obviously, your checklist for this race is way different from a marathon.
Basically, what you need is you have to have sunscreen, and you just need have a lot of gear, some rain gear. You got to have like even an umbrella when it starts pouring. As far as shoes go, I was lucky enough to get sponsored, and I had that one year. I remember I had Spire shoes. They were the ones that sponsored me.
You're out there for 52 days or less, or in your case a little less because you were doing that more mileage. Yeah. Now, did your feet swell up in the heat?
Yes, you do. But then there's an art and science to multi-day running. When your feet do swell up, then you soak them in cold water. So we would take short breaks. So a way to just shrink your feet, basically, is put them in cold water,
You've probably heard of the Great Saunter, which is a walk around the perimeter of Manhattan. It's 32 miles. It happens.
Oh, Dave Volkovich puts that on. Yes, I know all about it. And Ted Corbett originally did that.
Yes.
Who was a great friend of mine. The great, legendary Ted Corbett.
Yes. Well, it's an annual event put up by the Shore Walkers, Cy Adler. It's a walk, not a run. Anyway, I did the Great Saunter in the hot weather. And at that time, I would do 2 or 3 marathons a year.
Right.
So when Cy invited me to do the Great Saunter, and it was 32-mile walk, I said, piece of cake.
Right.
It was I did it with my wife. My feet swelled up. It was the hardest thing I ever did physically, to try to walk 32 miles.
Right.
So I would imagine that somebody going from, let's say, I'm an ultramarathoner, particularly people that are race across America, which is 3,000 miles.
Right, this is like the race across America.
And they do this 52-day thing. I have a feeling because of what you described, the heat, the cement, the monotony of it. I mean, this is a spiritual thing, This is not a physical thing.
So it's
it
absolutely
probably breaks people.
Right. For me, it became a spiritual experience, absolutely. And then you go into a zone where you feel like you can run forever. So for me, this is not a physical thing at all. And what we do is we take it day by day. So we don't think of the big 3,100 miles. You take it day by day, and it's fantastic. So you focus on your morning session, then that's over. It's history. Then the afternoon session, then your evening session, and then you go to bed, sleep, and then it really teaches you how to be in the present moment, and that becomes a spiritual thing. And also, it teaches you about good time management because you have to manage your time well. Otherwise, you're not going to finish at all.
What kind of crew support did you get?
I had my wife, my best friend, and the best handler in the world. I had my wife, and sometimes I've had some friends help me. And the Sri Chinmoy Marathon team that put on the race do a fabulous job of organizing a fantastic race.
I know. They convert a garage into a kitchen.
That's right. The reason I did it was for record purposes. So it's on a loop course, on a road course, a certified course, and so I could get these national records. So I just didn't run just for the pleasure. I'm running to get national records because I'm very goal-oriented, and I wanted to establish
And
one.
you got 114 Canadian
Yeah,
records.
right. And a lot of them came from this race. So like, for example, the 2,000-mile split counts as a record, or the 2,000-kilometer or 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000.
So that's how we get to 114. That
That's
one
right.
3,000 counts
Right.
for 5 or 6 records.
Right. When I did the 1,000-mile race and set the Canadian national record for the 1,000-mile race, there was the 900, the 800, the 700-mile records.
Oh, no.
That's how
it makes
it's
sense.
It's the splits.
It makes perfect sense.
Everything is timed. Everything, it's on a loop course, so it's absolutely measured. When you go point to point, they can never count that as records because it can't be accurately measured. But this, records happen on the track because it can be measured, or on the roads. But it has to be in a loop, and it has to be certified and measured.
Oh, wow.
Which the great Ted Corbett pioneered the whole certification in America.
That's right. That's right. I had his son here, Gary Corbett.
Great
and
man.
He's trying to maintain the historical record.
Right, right.
Probably want to have your records maintained. It sounds like you're doing a good job yourself.
In the ultramarathon field, everything is recorded, and these records stand, and they're there. And,
Yeah.
And they're there for men to break.
Probably know all the great ones in terms
do.
of the ultramarathon world. Who's considered the greatest ultramarathoner of all time?
Without doubt, Yanis Kouros from Greece originally, and he lives in Australia, and I've raced against him, and I tell you, his level, I got to a world-class level, then you get to the elite world-class level, and then you have Yanis Kouros, who
By
took it
himself.
to another place. For example, I ran 221 miles for the Canadian national record in Surgères, France. I went against the best in the world and came 5th. He won the race with a world record of 292 miles. It's like I'm going, let's say, 5 miles an hour. He's going 10K an hour. And you add that up, and there's the difference.
Wow. Women also do extremely well in the ultramarathon.
Yes, they do.
I read women that Badwater, for example, probably the toughest road race in the world. Have you done Badwater?
I haven't done Badwater yet, but you know.
Yet.
But you know, there's so many different ventures out there. You know, it's like I dabble with this one and that one, but I have done trails, I've done stage runs, I've done them all.
Who's considered the best female ultramarathoner of all time?
Without doubt, Eleanor Robinson from England, to me, because she won the 100K World Championships, and she did world records in the multi-days. And other guys, I think the best American that ever lived was Stu Middleman, in my opinion.
Okay.
He was a fellow New Yorker that moved out to California because he could run the short ultras, and yet he could set a world record for 1,000 miles, which
Wow.
Kouros bettered.
Was there any other marathoners or runners that you want to give a shout out to that, you know, that inspired you? For
Well, in
example?
the New York area, for example, we had Phil McCarthy, who you've interviewed. A lot of people don't know, for example, our TGNY here, he has the American record for 48 hours of 257 miles. And I'm the other race director, and I have the Canadian record for 48 hours of 221 miles.
You guys got to go uncovered.
Right. But Phil's a great, great runner. He really is.
Yes. A very nice guy. I had him here, as you said.
Right.
And we covered the origins. He started the Great New York 100.
It was his vision.
Yes. It's an amazing story. But I think you came in the second year because Phil discovered he needed help.
Right.
And you were the White Knight.
Right. Well, you know what it is? He didn't have enough water on the course for the first year. He was doing it himself. And I said, I think I'd rather help him here and create a great event than I could run it, but it's not going to be a great event. So I just saw his vision, and I wanted to be part of that vision. He has a fantastic course. Goes through Times Square,
Starts as Times Square.
Yes, it starts in Times Square.
It finishes Times
and
Square.
finishes in Times Square, goes through Van Cortlandt Park, goes through the green running ways, goes down to Rockaway Beach. It's a fantastic course. And this year we have 75 runners in the 100-mile and 25 runners in the 100K.
Deliberately capped it at 100 so that everybody could have a good experience.
Yeah. Too many people, we can't get enough volunteers. And I'm very grateful to all the volunteers that have volunteered to
And I
help
think
us.
you have about, how many aid stations?
We have 19 aid stations.
So what, every 5 to 10 miles?
Yeah, every 5 miles, you know.
Yeah, but it's considered they call it an urban ultra because you're
Urban adventure run.
an adventure run because you're supposed to be self-supporting. The run is supposed to be self-supporting.
Yeah, but you know, I wanted to make sure people had some food out there. So a lot of the volunteers bring food. We supply water. We supply some watermelon, and the whole idea is for people to explore New York City, but to do it in a race situation. You know, I'm the type of guy that likes to be an explorer or a pioneer, but I want to do it in a race situation. Therefore, it's recognized and it stands.
Yes, yes. It's a race situation, but you know, you're not supposed to kill yourself doing this. You're supposed to enjoy the experience.
The whole idea of an ultra is to enjoy the experience. So it's not trying to get to the finish line, but to enjoy the whole journey.
Okay.
And that's what ultras are all about. It's about it's discovery and self-exploration.
26.2 is plenty for me.
And plenty for others.
But it's a slightly different mindset here. You know, it's camaraderie is extremely powerful.
Absolutely.
In terms of covering each other's back. So I think this is the 5th season. I think it's coming up, right?
Yes, the 5th season is happening. Yes.
This is in about 2 weeks?
It's going to be happening in about 2 weeks, yes.
Okay, when this airs, it will be after the event. And then you got people from all over the world coming to do this race.
Yeah, some from Germany. Last year we had a guy from Norway. And, you know, it's just to show them a little bit of what New York City is about in this great city. I mean, this city is just a phenomenal city. It's the entertainment capital. It's the...
I know, it's everything.
It's everything. It's a restaurant capital.
But, you know, New York City, there's also a lot of bureaucracy. So you got to get some... You got to get through the permits, right? You got to get the permission to go to Times Square.
We get permission, but it's also an underground race a little bit because, you know, we kind of try to avoid the bureaucracy because this is a run put on by runners, organized by runners running in it. The volunteers were all ultra running families. So this is a family run.
Yeah, it is. So I guess being on Times Square, that's where you want to make sure the police know that's okay.
Right.
And being a public area, I think the first year Bill had to actually remove the finish line because somebody took it over. You know, a band took it over. Oh my God, there's a band. The finish line's over here.
But it's a chance, as I said, for everyone who's in the race to explore and to discover themselves in the Big Apple.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, you said it's a little bit of an underground race. Sometimes it happens where politicians get involved. This is what happened. You probably remember the holiday marathons?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You know, beautiful concept. They wanted to bring the marathon spirit, the ultra-marathon camaraderie to the Bronx. Free running. You self-regulated yourself. They had watermelon as food at the end.
Right.
And I had to say it, the politicians and the Parks Department got in the way and killed it.
We're not going. The politicians aren't going to know about this race. We don't, you know. And as you know, this is, as I said, this is beyond politics. This is sport, and we want to keep it sport as pure as possible. Ultra running is a very pure sport, and you know, as my friend Micah True, who was known as the Great White Horse, I knew him very well when he did Caballo Blanco with the Tama Mahara Indians. You know, he said, ultra running is running free, and you know, we just want the running community or the ultra running community to run free and run with their hearts instead of their minds.
Okay, well, you're very spiritual, but sometimes you run into, unfortunately, into politics. But I think you guys are safe. You know, you run all night long. It's only 100 people.
Right.
You do you're self-contained.
And we're like a family, you know. The ultra running community is a big family. I know them all, and it's fantastic to meet different people from different occupations, and we all come together with one common goal, and that's to run in unity. And you know, the world can learn that no matter what race or what background you have, we're all brothers and sisters.
Yes, that's a beautiful
and friends.
Beautiful thing. Yeah. You know, Muhammad Ali just passed away, but you know, he was was just ahead of his time.
Most definitely.
He,
Great inspiration.
He believed what you just said, that we're all brothers, no matter what religion.
Right.
We all want the same thing.
Right.
And I think the ultra marathon community, lives that spirit.
Yeah,
It doesn't
they
matter.
do.
We don't care what religion.
Right.
We're all the same when we're running.
Yeah, everyone's, I've done races in the World Championships, and we, for example, we run with each other. We don't run against each other. So, yeah, someone will come first, someone will come second, but we're all brothers in arms, and we're all after doing the best we possibly can, and we all try to bring out the best in who we are.
Okay.
And I've done that with the best in the world, and they're all beautiful souls.
Oh, I could see that everywhere I look. Particularly, I've met a few ultra marathoners. One of the things that a lot of them experience, and not so much a spiritual side, but they hallucinate when they're running.
I've done that. That's cool.
You like that?
Well, you know what it is? In these long races, it's fantastic. I call it LSD, long, slow distance. And what happens is I'm the type of guy that'll stay out there. I was kind of from the old ped where, when you snooze, you lose. And what I try to do is just stay out there because I run a little bit slower, but I like staying out there longer.
Okay.
So it's kind of, as far as in the running position, it's like the turtle in the hare. Some guys go a little too fast and they take big breaks. I catch them every time. So, and I didn't mind the hallucinations, and some of them are fantastic.
My God, it's like being on drugs or on a spiritual drug.
Yeah, it is.
It is because your own body is generating it. It's not some kind of drug.
Yeah,
it's your own body. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and it's a real way of breaking barriers within oneself. In fact, I remember I was so tired, I was hallucinating, and we're talking maybe the 4th, 5th day of a 6-day race. It didn't matter. All of a sudden, I was able to break through and find a whole new level of energy. So the whole idea of ultra running is that whole self-transcendence feeling or discovery, and going and finding new levels of energy. So that's why I also did it, is because of my own self-discovery, and trying to go beyond the body without hurting it. There's a certain point where you might feel you're too exhausted, so you take a little break. But I've mastered the art of sleep deprivation anyway. And there's a whole art into multi-day running. For example, you got to know what the right foods to eat. You got to know when to sleep, when not to sleep. It's not just running. I'm also a very, very good walker. So at nighttime I'll walk and walk strong. And during the day I'll run. And when I need to take a break, I'll take a break. If I just feel like I'm too exhausted, of course I'll lay down and sleep.
It's interesting. That sounds a little bit counterintuitive in the sense that at nighttime it's cooler. Why not do a little more running when it's cooler, as opposed to the daytime when it's warmer?
I'm a good hot weather runner.
Ah.
So I'm lucky that way, and that's why I could do the 3,100-mile race, is because, and you're talking about brutally hot weather, but I can handle it.
You can handle it. You're a bad weather kind of guy.
Yeah, I would be. Yes, I would be.
You probably know Oz Perman. He just did it
great
a few
runner.
years ago.
Great New York runner.
Yes,
Super.
yes.
Super.
Well, he showed up for the first 100, but he didn't finish it. It was interesting,
But he's done some great runs.
Oh, he's one of the best in the world.
Right.
Now, in terms of shorter distance, do you enjoy doing a 5K or 5-miler? Do you ever do those?
I used to. I think I used to enjoy the shorter stuff, but I haven't been doing them recently. I'm just kind of do my, 10, 12 ultras a year. I average about 10 ultras a year now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so my next one is the Vermont Trail 100K, and then the following month I'm doing the Catskill Mountain 100K, and then September I'll do the Pine Creek 100K. So I keep doing them because I can.
You can.
And I enjoy it.
Obviously, you enjoy it. It sounds like you don't need to do a lot of, prep work, speed work, because 100K, that's a lot. And then you're doing 100K another month. You probably need the time to recover.
Well, yeah. I spend the first week after the race recovering. It takes me about 5 days to really get back, but I'm a fast recoverer. That's why I could do the multi-days. For example, I remember, let's say in that 48-hour race, I did 130 miles the first day and came back with 90 miles, 91 miles the second day.
Now, one of your secrets is ice, you said. Will you get the
there's lots of secrets. I used I take good nutritional supplementation. I get chiropractic help from an applied kinesiologist or a chiropractor, so they just made to keep me balanced. So I have a multi-day running down to a science.
Okay, and you yourself are a massage therapist.
Yes, I've been doing it for 29 years.
So you yourself know your body and the muscles.
Absolutely, and my wife's been doing it for 35 years.
She's a massage therapist
Yes,
too?
she is, and she's fantastic, and we help each other. So I do know about the body very, very well. I know how it works and what limits it has, and when I hit my own barriers, I don't push through it. I'll step back, and then I'll push a little more. So I play with my body's limits, but never to exhaust myself. I'll go to a certain point, pull back. It's like a rubber band. If you stretch it too much, then it'll eventually break.
Right.
But I can stretch it, pull it back, stretch it.
You know your body.
I know it very well.
Oh, right.
I've been graced to have a strong, sturdy, durable body.
My goodness. I'm sure scientists will want to study you, or doctors. There's some programs where they take tissue samples, put you on machines.
Right.
Jeff Galloway, for example, they want to study his knees because they say you do all this running, your knees should be shot, but yours obviously are not shot.
Well, I have good biomechanics. One, I don't overpronate. I've been graced, with
It's good biomechanics.
good biomechanics and a good temperament. A lot of this is temperament. I have good spiritual energy going through me, and
And you got a spouse that supports this
Absolutely.
crazy ideas of running.
Right. Well,
Is
she never
running
thought it
too?
crazy. I met my wife at the 6-day World Championships in 1985. She was helping a friend. She's never thought this was crazy.
Really?
In fact, she's done ultramarathons herself, and she's done them well.
Excellent. Well, that's great support. The rest of us think it's a little crazy, but it works for you and it works for a lot of people. That's really the beautiful
What's
thing.
crazy for one person is not crazy to another. Why be normal? It's the people that are willing to take it right out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's crazy. I think it's a beautiful thing because you get enjoyment. Other people enjoy it. Heck. So the Greater New York 100 is in 2 weeks. Obviously, it's closed out. So if people want to sign up for it, they should check next year.
Next January. And we have a website and we have a Facebook page. And just check with that. I believe it's the first or second weeks of January.
The registration opens up.
It opens up, and in a day it's gone. So, but there is a waiting list, and some people drop out of it because of injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of each person entering it because they have the courage to see how far they can go.
Yeah.
And kudos to them.
Excellent. Well, listen, on that note, thank you so much for coming in.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.